All right, so the 455 deck. I'm got to order some parts for the tractor, so might as well inspect the deck to see if I need any parts for the deck. So I mentioned in the previous update video that the deck sounded kind of rough. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to rotate it and just listen to, hopefully the GoPro will pick this up. Just listen to the kind of the grinding or empty sound when I turn it over. Hopefully you're able to pick that up. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and actually grease the 3 spindles just to see if I can get it a little bit better, sounding a little bit better, to see if they're just dry. It doesn't seem overly stiff per se. So we're going to try that first and see if we can get it to sound a little bit better. Like I said, it doesn't seem overly stiff. So we're going to try that. After I get done with that, I'm going to go ahead and take the gearbox off, change the oil in the gearbox, pull the drive shaft off, inspect the drive shaft, inspect the 2 idler pulleys, etc., to see if I need to replace those bearings. So let me grease it real quick. I'm going to grease it just with Lucas heavy duty grease. That's what I use in all my mower decks. It seems to work pretty good. So let me do that and we'll come back and we'll see if we made a difference. Well, our greasing didn't change much. Quieted it down a little bit, but not a lot. So the next step is I'm going to take the gearbox off of here. To do that, the first step is I'm going to take the drive shaft off. This can all be done with a 13mm socket and ratchet, or in my case, I'm going to do it with impact gun, air impact gun. This is a 15mm nut. It just goes straight through. It's only, there's no, or bolt, there is no nut on the other side. And then what we're going to do is I'm going to take this whole gearbox plate off, because the drive pulley underneath it, you can't just pull the gearbox off. You have to pull the drive pulley off. So to change the oil, I'm actually just going to pull the whole assembly off. So I'm going to set the camera up and we're going to do that. All right, so the first thing is the drive shaft. Reverse. Now sometimes, yeah, it's going to take a rubber mallet. So never use a steel mallet or a steel hammer on that. Rubber mallet works just fine. So I'm going to take that, put it up there, because we're going to go ahead, take it apart, inspect it and whatnot. Be careful, there is a key in this gearbox, so you want to make sure that you keep the key. And what I do, I think I'm doing this off camera, is I put the bolt right back in the drive shaft. That way I don't lose it. So next thing I'm going to do, and actually the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and release the tension on this belt. Rotating it off like so. Try to remember, get a mental image of what this thing looks like. The belt looks in pretty good shape, so I'm not too worried about it. Next, there's 2 bolts in the back. They are carriage bolts, so you can just take those off. There's a chance they can be somewhat difficult to take off depending on the carriage, the square side of the carriage bolt. So those are off. And there's 2 up front. These are studs. Boy, that one really did not want to come off. Now the air compressor's on. All right. So now I can lift this whole plate off. Like so. What I'm stuck on is one of the carriage bolts in the back here. Doesn't want to come out. we go. Just like that. Now for good measure, I'm going to go ahead and put these nuts back on here. I will clean up those threads before I go too much farther. I'll go ahead and put the nuts back on the gearbox mount in the back. So next thing I'm going to do is this pipe plug right here. I'm going to go ahead and get an Allen wrench, take that pipe plug out, and just drain the gear oil out of the gearbox. So let me get set up to do that. All right, so we got the gearbox off. So what I'm gonna go ahead and do is I've already loosened this up. That way I didn't have to do it on video. I got I believe this is an 8mm Allen head bolt or Allen head socket. And so go ahead, pull that out. Doesn't look too bad. Set that down. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna turn this up on its side and let it drain. So you see it's draining there. I'm just going to let this drain for a little while. And then after I get done doing that, I'm going to go ahead. I'll probably spray some brake clean in there, get it nice and clean in there, and then come back and drain it, let it air out overnight, and then fill it back up. So pretty easy to change the gear oil in these things. And I mainly have to let it dry overnight. I may just take and just use the air hose and just dry it out that way. So we'll see. I'm going to do that, and I'll come back when I go to add the gear oil. All right, so got the gear oil changed. Put just GL5 8090 gear oil in there. I got the pipe plug back in there, got all the surfaces cleaned up. What I ended up doing is actually using brake clean, just sprayed brake clean in there, sloshed it around for a little bit, dumped it out, did that I think total of 4 times, and then just took the air hose with my end here and just blew it out. I basically just put a paper towel over the cover and blew it out onto the paper towel, and everything was fine. I'm not going to put this back on the deck right now because we have other work to do on the deck. I think the first thing that I want to do is I want to see how these pulleys feel. So let's look at this one. That one actually feels pretty good. This one, I think I'm gonna have to take it off to get the deck belt out. Let's see here. I can't exactly remember how this works, but this one doesn't. Problem is you can't hear it over the belt. But I don't feel anything. It's not stiff or anything like that. So now I'm going to check each one of the spindles. Yeah, the spindle bearings do not sound good. I'm going to try to add some more grease to those and see if that helps. We'll go to the middle one. Middle one's fine. And then the far side's a little bad. But I'll dig into those a little bit more. I'll leave, like I said, I'm going to leave the gearbox off. And I think that's it for this video for right now. And we'll come back when we start working on the deck some more. I got to get some parts this week. I know I at minimum need 2 wheels. I need a secondary air filter for the tractor. Several other things. So thanks for watching.